Hi, it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik. Pawlik Automotive in Vancouver, Vancouver's best auto service experience, 17-time winners of Best Auto Repair in Vancouver as voted by their customers. How you doing, Bernie?
I'm doing very well.
So we're going to talk about Kia Optimas today and how reliable this is a fairly popular car recently, priced very affordably. How reliable is it?
Well, I'd say it's fair. They have some significant problems in certain model years. Car's been around since 2000, which is quite a while. And I would say that for the first decade, it wasn't a super popular car. In Canada, it was sold as a Kia Magentis. Not a bad-looking car, throughout its time, but not quite as reliable as you'd expect for, like, say, a Toyota Camry or the other competitive-sized cars.
So Kia's had some major engine issues. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this is probably the biggest sort of stain on this car. Is that from 2011 to 2014, a lot of major engine failures. Hyundai uses the same engine in their Sonata and some other models. Major recall. So the good news is, if you have one of these cars, the engines generally fail, and it's covered by a recall. There's a lawsuit from 2015 to 16 on the Kia Sonata engines as well. I don't know so much of the details of that, but I think it's a similar problem to the 2011 and 2014. So what happened is, in the manufacturing process, somehow they left some metal behind inside the engine, which is obviously not a good thing. Somewhere in the crankshaft, from what I've read, I've never actually taken it apart and looked at it, but somewhere in the crankshaft journals, in the bottom of the engine, in the machining process, the metal bits got left behind, and so eventually it grinds the engine bearings and causes the engine to seize. It's a pretty catastrophic failure, and apparently it can happen very, very quickly. So there's a bit of a safety concern along as well, which is probably why there's a recall, because usually recalls are not for problems, they're for safety type of issues. So anyways, the good news is it's a recall covered item. So if you happen to have one of these cars and you haven't had a recall notice, look out for it. If you happen to be buying a used car, make sure that the recall has been done, or that you do your research beforehand, because the last thing you want to do is have the car break down. But that's kind of the major engine issue. Otherwise, there's really very few problems with the engines. They're all good. And over the years, there's been a variety of different engine offerings. Up to 2010, you could get a V6 engine as well, which was a fairly reliable engine. No problems with that. The 4 cylinders are good. All the newer, like 2011 and up models, are all 4 cylinder. You can get them with hybrids in some years. Some are turbocharged. Others are just regularly naturally aspirated engines.
Do you have any pictures?
Yeah, I got a couple. Let's have a look here. So we have fairly new model. Sorry, I'll just enlarge this. And actually, I actually wasn't sure which model it is. It's probably a 2016, 2017, fairly new, very nice looking car. And then also a view of a cockpit of a 2017 Optima hybrid, which is really, if you look at this, I mean, it's a really nice car. And I will say Kia, they're kind of bottom end cars. So this is kind of what you get at the bottom end, which is pretty awesome. I was in Colorado recently and I rented an Optima, just a regular. I'm back.
Yep.
Just a regular Optima, and I mean, it was an awesome car. Really good gas mileage, about 30 miles per gallon, which I think is really good for sort of a mid-sized car. Fantastic gas mileage. Everything about the car drove fine. I had like zero complaints. You go like barreling down the highway at 80 miles an hour. It's really comfortable, smooth, no problems at all. So really nice car. Yeah, so that's a bit about the car. So what else are we going to talk about here?
Well, how's the rest of the car? What about the brakes?
Brakes are good. We don't see any issues with brakes. It's your typical sedan. You get 30 to 50,000 miles, 50 to 80,000 kilometers out of a set of brakes, front or back. That's kind of a average expectation on these cars. So that's nothing abnormal. They don't wear out prematurely and don't seem to have a lot of problems.
Drivetrain?
Good. The only complaint I'd have, we had a client with a Magentis. It was sort of mid-2000s. The engine mounts wore out, so there was a lot of vibration and shaking in the car. That seemed a little, in my opinion, premature. It was a few years ago. Other than that, the transmissions, we don't see a lot of problems with them. They're really good. but I think, being, when you make a car that's cheaper, there's got to be something that makes it cheaper. And I think some of the, engine mounts, suspension bushings and things are probably made a little bit on the cheaper side.
How about steering and suspension?
No real problems with those either. I do read a fair bit about cars, and there's some complaints about steering poles in these cars, and nothing we've experienced ourselves. I don't think it's anything really major. It's maybe a tire issue, but other than that, I mean, there's nothing really glaringly bad about the steering or suspension that wears out. Shocks and struts seem to last sort of a normal amount of time as well. So normal meaning, 10-year-old Kias, they seem to be in pretty good shape still.
Sure. And electronics are a big part of all cars. Any issues in that line?
Nothing that we've seen in particular. Everything seems to be, again, on average. There's nothing where we see every Kia that comes in, Optima comes in, has this particular problem. They're pretty decent. There's not really a lot of glaring electronic problems or computer problems with the cars.
So overall, how would you rate the Kia Optima?
Well, I mean, I was saying from a new car, it's quite a nice vehicle. You could basically, as I said, drive it. It's a beautiful car. As time goes by, not sure how it's going to age. Based on the older ones we work on, I'd say they're just kind of a fair car. They tend to get old quickly, and I kind of fear that a lot of the newer ones will probably go the same way. When the car's 10 years old, it'll seem a lot older than perhaps some European cars or higher end like Japanese Camrys or Lexus. But would I buy one? I'd consider it.
So there you go. If you have a Kia in Vancouver and you need service for it, bring it to Pawlik Automotive. They'll look after you. They're mild fans of the car, and they work on lots of them. You can reach them at 604-327-7112 to book an appointment. You have to book ahead. They're busy. Or check out their website, pawlikautomotive.com. Thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark.